I guess the first question is that if they have requested a religious exemption, then how do you determine the legitimacy of that religious exemption?
Yeah, so if you look at the case law, and you have to look at case law with this as well, what the Court of Appeals has said is at first they want to see an interactive process between the employee and the company where they sought the exemption and explain the reason for the exemption. But if what your question is getting at is there some looking behind the theology or whether or not this is something we agree with, that's not what it's about. It really is, do you believe this? That's the test. That's how the courts look at it. Do you really have this as a sincerely held religious belief?
And how do you determine that?
It's in facts and circumstances. I think we just want to see some information about how long they've had it, how they carry that belief out. Again, is it sincere versus there being evidence that it's not sincere, it's just artificial construction.
Is that something we've done previously? Where, I mean, so that's what. So what I'm seeing out here is historically, and most good labor attorneys will tell people, you don't start looking into it. If they ask for an exemption, what you do is you decide whether you can make the accommodation or not, and you do it. If you can make the accommodation, you do it. You don't start digging in, and the reason is you open yourself up for liability if you do. I would assume that our unemployment office has been doing that same thing where we don't do much digging because when you do that, at some point you're going to be wrong. Are we going to start digging and start looking for legitimacy when previously we haven't?
Now, Senator Ballinger, there is a well-developed body of case law on this, both with Title VII and with unemployment law. And we just looked at the case law for that. It's not a very, very high hurdle.
Okay, and the other question that I have is, so one of the employers, what they're doing is they're saying, oh, see that you've applied for a religious exemption, we are going to grant you a religious exemption, and we are going to accommodate you. Our accommodation is 1 year paid without, or 1 year leave without pay, and at some point maybe in the future you can apply for your job again. Would those people be eligible for unemployment? And we may be talking about thousands of people. So, like that answer, we need to know the answer to.
Yeah. Again, I think it's a facts and circumstances test. I'm hesitant to give anybody a definitive answer on the front end before they file their claim. We would need to look at the policy. We would need to look at the request, and then apply the case law to.
Okay. So, but in the case of where they're not officially terminating anybody, they're saying that I'd say that. Case law would say they're terminating them, is what case law would say. But what they're saying is that they're giving them a 1 year leave without pay. Are you saying at this point we don't know whether that would be eligible? All the other facts and circumstances are the same. The difference is you're fired or no, you've got 1 year leave without pay. Is that, you're saying you don't know the answer as far as that goes?
What I'm saying is that it's a facts and circumstances test. I want to see the claim, I want to see what the employee's saying, what the employer's saying, and then we adjudicate the decision.
So give me a scenario in that case where the facts would say that there is no, just hypothetically, where there is no, they don't qualify for unemployment. So what would be the factors that what they've done is, Joe Smith says, I've got this deeply held religious belief, and so therefore I can't take the vaccination. And they say, okay, we get your deeply held religious beliefs, we're not even questioning that, we're going to accommodate you, you have 1 year leave without pay. What other factors would come into the equation to say you don't qualify for unemployment?
Well, the two things we're always going to look at in this scenario that you're kind of describing is, did somebody leave without, quote, good cause? Or did somebody fail to follow an employer's policy without good reason?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things we look at.
And so in that case, once again, we go back to the deeply held legitimate, deeply held religious convictions, and you're gonna question whether the person believes, get all that. If they do, but what the employer says, we're accommodating you, we're giving you 1 year pay without leave, or 1 year leave without pay, tell me the facts when that person is not going to qualify for unemployment.
Again, it depends on what the claim actually said, but I would assume that if somebody's pay was cut 100%, then they would claim they resigned for good reason. And we would look at that.
Okay, so you would, at that point, you would not see if a person was in, they would essentially have to quit before they'd be eligible?
Well, I think the claim is going to come to us probably one of two ways, either they quit or they return it.
Well, let me say this. I'm going to say they were terminated, but this is about to happen. Like, this is not just a hypothetical. This is what's happening over and over and over again with one of the biggest employers, the one that is going to have the most impact. And so when this happens, they're going to come to you, because of the fact that they're relying on these payments to be able to pay their car payment, to be able to pay their house payment, they're going to come to you right away. They're told that they have, that what they get is 1 year leave without pay. So they're going to come to you, and all they have is 1 year leave without, they're on leave, right, without pay. So what are you going to do? You're going to say, no, we're not even hearing your claim because you're still technically employed?
Now, as I said before, everyone can file a claim.
Okay.
There is no bar to filing a claim. But I think we kind of come at this a lot of different ways, but I think the answer is still probably the same, which is, I want to see the claim, I want to see what the employee is alleging, I want to see what the employer's response is, and then we'll apply the relevant law.
So are you saying relevant law does provide for an opportunity to pay unemployment even if a person is in a 1 year leave without pay?
There is case law that says if someone has had their pay cut, that may give them a reason to file an unemployment, and of course they'll award unemployment.
Okay. All right, so that's essentially what I want to make sure that when these people are faced with this, that mechanism, that it won't be the state of Arkansas saying, no, we're not going to give you even that small amount of ability to mitigate what the pain that we're causing here.
Yeah, the Arkansas Court of Appeals, regularly reports its decisions, Arkansas Code annotated, on unemployment claims. So that's public reported, it's available to everybody. I would encourage people who have questions about the circumstances of receiving unemployment, talk to a competent attorney. If you can't do that for whatever reason, you go look at the Arkansas Code. It's right there, it lays it out.
All right. Got Senator Sullivan, and then I think that'll be it.